Hello, everyone. This is your friendly neighborhood podcast. I'm Kyle Swope, and joining me is my co-host Josh Meyer. Say hi, Josh.
Hey everybody.
Perfect. Today we are discussing the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer. So the trailer just dropped Monday night.
Yeah.
So yeah, Josh, what are your just general opinions, ideas on it before we start talking into more
Uh
depth?
I was in awe as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Any trailer drops, I'm in awe of it. Um but little fearful. Now we'll talk about that. But I was in awe, but I'm a little fearful. A little fearful.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. And what part specifically makes you fearful?
Uh this multiverse, a whole crossover thing with the different trilogies and different movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like we talked about last episode, Sam Raimi trilogy, not my favorite. Andrew Garfield, not the greatest movies. We're taking the bad and we're bringing it to the good. So
Hmm. That
uh,
is very controversial.
I know it is.
Oh wow. So, anyways, personally, I'm looking forward to seeing the crossovers. Um, 'Cause um, I love the Sam Raimi movies. I grew up on the Sam Raimi movies.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very biased toward them, I guess, for lack of a better term. But like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, I'm so excited for that. Seeing
Okay.
him, and even if he doesn't come back, like even if they don't actually bring back the Spider-Man, which don't get me wrong, I would be very surprised if they don't. But even if they don't, um, I'm still like glad to see the villains. Like seeing Doc Ock coming back and implying that Green Goblin's coming back. Um, that excites me
Okay.
because those were two fantastic villains from the movies.
I would agree with that. Those were
Mm-hmm.
very, very good portrayals and very good actors.
Mm-hmm.
Minus the thing with Doc Ock's arms messing with his mind. I did not like that character point of oh, it's just the
Mm-hmm.
arms. Did not like that. But those are very good actors, very good characters, well written.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm gonna see. I have some predictions I'm gonna make here. So I'm sitting with the trailer in front of me right now. I'm just kind of skimming through it as I'm discussing it.
Yeah.
But So what I think is going to happen? There's a lot of shots showing them like swinging in New York, and Spider-Man's in his red and black suit from the Far From Home.
Yeah.
My prediction is that this movie is going to start right where Far From Home ends.
Mm-hmm.
So my prediction is they're going to swing around. See him swinging through New York, J. Jonah Jameson everywhere. Saying that Peter Parker is Spider-Man,
Yeah.
Public Enemy #1, that type of stuff. So what I predict is going to happen is at the beginning of the movie, that's when all of those things are going to happen. Spider-Man and MJ are trying to, like get away from everyone because they're like swarming them. And I mean, now there's an arrest warrant out for him because I think he killed Mysterio.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's going to, and then you see the clip of them on top of like the bridge. I think that's where the fight is going to, not fight, but the chase, I suppose, is going to end because he's sort of like cornered in.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I think what's going to happen next in the movie is they're going to take him to, they're going to bring him to jail. I heard some people speculating he turns himself in. I don't think he would do that, but I think he would surrender if he was on that bridge surrounded by police helicopters,
Yeah, I agree. I agree with
especially with
that.
MJ there, because, she can't do what he can do. And if she gets hurt,
That's on him. Yeah.
exactly. So I think they bring him in. I think, he comes in willingly. Like he doesn't resist after they have him cornered. But they bring him in, which is kind of weird because he's handcuffed to the table, but he could so easily break out of that.
Yeah. I think of the Man of Steel, where they have Superman handcuffed there, and then he just pops right off, pops the handcuffs off.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I haven't seen Man of Steel in forever, but I
Definitely.
remember the scene. I don't remember him doing that specifically.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. And then he's in the room, and I hope that guy you think is Matt Murdock is Matt Murdock, the guy in the white shirt who slams the files down, because that would
Yeah.
be awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
That lead me to believe it is Matt Murdock. We talked about this a little bit last episode, but there's a couple of things. Charlie Cox, who plays Matt Murdock in Daredevil, has very hairy arms, and that guy who slams house down also has very hairy arms. So it leads me to believe that it could be Charlie Cox. Now, he didn't have, his blind man's cane. But I could have been sitting in a corner somewhere. So, I am very much hoping it is Charlie Cox, Daredevil.
Yeah. And from what I see here in the trailer, I don't see a shot explicitly showing him walking into the room. Now, there's a shot where they're in, like, the police station.
Yeah.
And I can see two figures outside the room, but I don't think it explicitly. Let me hit play here. Actually, I'm going to look. Okay, it's like implied that two guys walk into the room. But then with the way the cameras are, I think it would be very easy that this is Matt Murdock and that they are trying to kind of avoid showing him. Maybe trying to leave that as like a surprise.
Yeah.
Like Toby and Andrew, because that surprise has got spoiled already. But anyways, so I'm suspecting after that, they take him in, they say, here's what you're being charged for. And then court dates, for like most people, it oftentimes takes months for them to go in front of a court. You know what I'm saying?
It does, yeah.
So what I'm suspecting is they let him go. They give him is it a court summons? I don't know anything about the law. So I think that's the right term.
I don't know a thing either.
Okay. We're just going to call it a summons for now. Okay. So they give him this court summons. And so it takes several months for him to, finally go into court. So here's what I'm speculating. What happens is after he's released, actually, let's backtrack. Far From Home ended in summer, right?
Yeah.
Because it was a summer school trip, a big field trip across Europe, bachelors in Europe. Anyways, so I think they go through that summer, and that's where the movie ends, and it picks up here. And then, as we can see from all the decorations and things, we're gonna be in both Halloween and Christmas.
Okay.
So this movie's gonna take place over the course of several months. Okay. I would imagine that Spider-Man sort of lays low, obviously, for these few months because he's got a target on his back.
Yep.
So, we see him going back to school and all this crazy stuff. I'm really excited to see how Flash Thompson reacts to this.
Me too.
I know. It's going to be hilarious.
He has blonde hair now.
Oh, yeah. Because you see him in the background of the one shot.
Yeah.
That's more comic accurate, but I'm not sure if it's a good look for him.
It's not a good look at all.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. But yeah, so I would say, he goes to school, loves controversy. The weird thing is, how there's the shot where he's looking at that vampire witch thing decoration and he gets the idea to see Doctor Strange?
Yeah.
So if you look in that scene in the top left corner, you see prices for milkshakes and stuff. So I'm thinking, where is he where he sees that?
Okay. So I can touch on this. So my theory is he's on parole and he's working at Feast, which is like a homeless shelter thing in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit, and some other things too. So my
guess
on parole at Feast.
Okay. Well, hold on a second. I think for this shot, that might not be the case because why would Feast be selling milkshakes?
Well, that's true.
However, there is another shot later on when we see him in the black and gold suit, kind of running through. It looks like a homeless shelter.
Yeah.
So that very well could have been Feast. And maybe they're going to pull reference from the Insomniac game and have Aunt May work in there.
Okay.
Even potentially.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
I remember in Far From Home at the beginning, she had that thing. I forget specifically what it was. That would make sense for her to be, working there in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think he's on parole. He sees the decoration. He goes, you know what? Dr. Strange can help me out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think between that and this court date, he goes to see Doctor Strange. That's my prediction. Yeah. And then, they do the spell for everyone to forget him, and he screws it up. I don't know how exactly that would work because, I'm sure they're going to explain it in the movie, why him thinking, oh, I want this person to remember too, because in my mind that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, I guess.
Yeah.
It just kind of needs explained, I feel like. So that
Yeah,
craziness happens. Multiverse.
with Strange, Doctor Strange needs explains, like, what was he doing during WandaVision? You
Hmm.
know, and I think
Yeah.
in this movie we're gonna get that, and I think Strange has some other plot that he's trying to work towards, because it seems very impulsive of him to cast a spell, for Peter Parker.
Hmm.
Um, a very dangerous spell that Wong tells him, not to cast. So I think he has ulterior motives here. And what these are, well, I don't know if we'll figure out in Multiverse of Madness, or I don't know if we'll figure out in this film. But he's definitely up to something else.
Huh.
And another interesting thing is the scene where he's casting the spell. He is wearing the Eye of Agamotto.
Is he? I didn't notice that.
He is, yeah.
Let
So I
me.
don't know that for something else now, but
Huh.
there's a lot of things about Doctor
Well,
Strange need to
if
touch
the
up on.
Infinity Stones got restored, though, like Captain America did at the end of Endgame, he could have gotten it back.
I guess so.
Hmm. But yeah, I don't really know what to think about that. I suppose.
Yeah,
Hmm.
a lot of questions there for me.
Oh
What
yeah.
is up? Where has he been? What's he planning? Is it really him? It could be Mephisto. No, I'm just. But you know, lots of lots of questions needed to be answered.
Yeah. Also, my theory is, we see like all the stuff go crazy and out of control, right? Because the
Yep.
spells getting screwed up. My
Yep.
prediction is all the scenes of like Spider-Man in the mirror dimension and stuff. I think that all happens during that sequence.
Okay.
That's my theory, anyways. I don't know that for a fact, but that would make sense because Doctor Strange is seen there too. If we know that the two of them are in the scene and stuff goes bonkers and they need to whip out the good old mirror dimension.
Yeah. Um. Now, I think there's going to be a little bit of conflict between Doctor Strange and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You get several reasons why I think this. You get the train scene, okay? It
Hmm.
looks like fighting. He surrounds him with the train cars. It looks like he's trying to trap him or something.
Yeah.
You also got the moment where he pushes him into his astral form.
Hmm.
Um, Maybe that's just to teach him something. But Peter Parker also, well, he's in the Spider-Man costume, but he's holding a box. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I don't know if you've heard this theory about it yet either, but the theory is that box contains the different villains that have escaped from the multiverse, and
Hmm.
Doctor Strange to like keep them trapped, but Peter, being Spider-Man, wants to send them home, and thus the title, the villains have no way home.
Hmm.
uh, so my theory is there's a little bit of conflict there, um, but I don't think they'd go in that direction.
Yeah. I sort of heard that. I think definitely not Doctor Strange. Spider Man's going to get a little bit on Doctor Strange's bad side,
Yeah,
just because he's fairly impulsive.
yeah, and Doctor
Um,
doesn't seem to be impulsive.
yes, he's
Um,
not thrilled by that. The one scene that kind of confuses me the most that we see this interior shot of it looks like some type of like studio or something, I would guess. It's like all
uh-huh.
torn down and on fire. A
Okay.
bunch of guys with like rifles with like lasers, look like a SWAT team or something like that, like walking in.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea what that could be about.
Well, I think they're
But
probably arresting Peter.
possibly.
uh, that's I don't know. Maybe that's what they want you to think too.
Hmm.
But then you also see Happy in a car, and Happy, like, he rolls the window down and he's like crying, and that it looks like it's the same place there.
Could
So
be. Well,
maybe
okay, so hold on. I'm gonna build on my theory possibly. So
okay.
how I was saying about how I was breaking down the trailer, seeing the shots, trying to line them up, and I started from Far From Home, right?
Uh huh.
What if he actually does get away from the police, and then he goes home, talks to Aunt May, and then the police show up at his house,
That makes sense. And then
and
I
then
think,
they're trying to flee, and then Happy might be there too,
yeah. Well,
trying to
my
help
guess,
them.
Happy maybe officiating the arrest because he thinks it's what's best for Peter. If that makes sense.
Really?
Yeah, because
Huh?
yeah, I feel like that's a Happy thing to do. That's I feel like that's part of his character.
Possibly. I don't know. I sort of feel like though the fact that he's dating Aunt May,
Yeah. Well,
and
it's maybe it's like he wants to keep Peter safe and Aunt May. So the easy way out is to go through the trial, go through the arrest. But
possibly, but they'll definitely make him mad at him.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard another theory. This is sort of random off the wall, but you know the black and gold suit.
Uh huh.
I heard a theory that that's Peter's like normal suit is I don't are they calling it the enhanced suit or something? The red and black one?
I don't know. Probably.
I don't know. But the theory is that it's the red and black suit. You just put it on inside out.
Huh.
Which that would be hilarious, but I don't think they'd introduce that suit and have such an emphasis on it if it's going to be a joke.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting. But anyways, but following my theory, I think Doctor Strange thing happens, it goes berserk. But I think we see the Iron Spider suit make an appearance again,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
see um like that fight on the bridge, and Peter's dressed like in a suit. So my theory is he's going to his court case when all this
Ah,
stuff happens.
yeah.
So I think all of the stuff that we see here in this trailer is only from Act One and the beginning of Act Two.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
Yeah, because if his court case is there, I think everything else is going to unravel as it goes on.
Uh huh.
But yeah, another thing. So this is sort of some people have been talking about. There's two things I want to bring up specifically in terms of villains. But
Hmm.
do you think Lizard is in this movie?
Yes, I saw him.
Okay. Yes, I would
He's
agree.
in.
Because there's
Yeah.
that shot where you see the thing behind him when he's in the suit.
Yeah. I was just about to bring that up actually,
Mm-hmm.
but he's in the suit. And okay, so it looks like Lizard is in a cage. And back to this box theory that Doctor Strange is collecting them. I think
Mm-hmm.
that is the interior of that box, and Peter is maybe transported into that, and then that's where he sees the lizard or something. That's just my theory though.
Possibly.
But yeah, so far we've seen 5 villains potentially. We had Doc Ock. He's been confirmed. We literally saw his character. The
Mm-hmm.
lizard. We saw the lizard. Not necessarily up close. But we saw a quick second of him.
Yeah.
We saw Goblin Grenade, which I mean maybe Doc Ock is using Green Goblin technology, but I highly doubt that.
Yeah.
We got maybe Electro. We had the yellow electricity.
Mm-hmm.
And man, looks like we had that. That
Okay, hold
Sam.
on. Let me point something out. The Sandman, since
Okay.
you bring that up. I do not believe Sandman is in this movie, and here's why. I'm
Okay.
trying to find the shot specifically. You know the shot where it looks like the electricity is zapping at him, and you see what people think to be a Sandman?
Yeah.
If you look at that shot close, I'm trying to find it here since I have the trailer up on my computer right now. If you
Uh-huh.
look at that shot and you see the lightning coming at him, and it's
Yeah.
almost like blocking him in a way, the sand. But if
Yeah.
you look at it, it looks like the sand, the ground stuff, is mimicking Peter's like flinch, like him like trying to block himself. So I
Yeah.
think it's that enhanced suit, or not the enhanced, the black and gold suit. Here it is. Yeah, I think what's happening is he's using like the ground or whatever to shield him from the lightning. I don't think that's actually Sandman.
I guess, but wouldn't it make more sense for the character who controls like the sand and the ground to be protecting? Where instead of Peter using his modified costume to bring sand up off the ground. But
Well, hold on. At first, yes, but we also got to keep in mind if you look at a lot of the merch that's been released for this movie already, we see a lot of Doctor Strange enhanced Spider-Man costumes.
okay.
So if that's the case, and this costume does have some type of magical capabilities, we don't know how it works. We've only seen so much of it. It could very well, as far as I know, that could be happening.
Okay.
That's just my theory, anyways.
We can agree to disagree on that one.
Yeah.
I would like to think Sandman is potentially in it because I think that was another good character.
Mm-hmm.
In yeah.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. Then yeah. Also, I have another theory that ties into a lot of stuff. Have you seen the trailer for Morbius, by the way, that dropped like I think it was like a year or so ago, even more than that, maybe?
Maybe once, but I don't really remember it.
Okay, so the Morbius trailer, it's got two things that I think are very interesting. So let me kind of lay some groundwork here. Morbius is supposed to exist in Sony's Spider-Man character. They just renamed it their little universe. Um, and we know that they're pushing to get their stuff in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right?
Yeah.
So Morbius and Venom are sharing a universe. That's what I'm told, anyways. So
Hmm.
if that's the case, we see two things in the Morbius trailer that are interesting. One, we see a painting on the wall that looks like Sam Raimi Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire one, that
Okay.
has murderer spray painted on top of it, which would make sense if it exists in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, okay?
Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of people believe Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
Why they would use that Spider-Man, we don't know, but this also would make sense if it's tying into No Way Home.
Hmm.
Uh, so there's that. Plus, we get to see a character played by Michael Keaton in um, the Morbius trailer at the very end, which makes
All
me
right.
think: is this Adrian Toomes, the Vulture?
Hmm. Now, is it just a character? Like, has it been confirmed that it is a different
Well,
character?
it's been neither confirmed nor denied, but it would make a little too much sense, especially given this that it would all tie together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my theory is, and we know because Loki, the timeline, things getting patched up, what Spider-Man screwed up here. I think it would make a lot of sense if what happens is the Sony movies get enveloped to their own little corner of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it's like they exist in the MCU, but kind of like off in their own little world where nothing really affects the greater Marvel.
Yeah.
So I think with Doctor Strange patching it all together and what we've seen in the Morbius trailer, it would make sense. Not to mention in the new Venom, the Venom Let There Be Carnage trailer, we
Uh-huh.
see Eddie Brock is working for a West Coast Daily Bugle.
Ah.
So yeah, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I don't know. It just seems like it makes a lot of sense right now.
Yeah. It does.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, maybe maybe it is all just happening on the West Coast.
Yeah,
And
because
it's
the only
not.
Marvel stuff that's really happened on the West Coast were the three Iron Man movies and Ant Man.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's like four out of like what 20 some.
Yeah, that could make sense.
So they haven't done a whole lot of West Coast things, and not to mention like the Iron Man movies take place by Malibu, and the like Venom took place in San Francisco.
Uh-huh.
So they're far enough away from each other that theoretically the stuff could have happened in those movies in that same universe. We
Yeah.
just we just don't know for a fact, I suppose.
Yeah. That definitely makes sense. Maybe with that, um, maybe Blade. I know Blade's coming in soon.
Oh
Maybe he
yeah,
the same multiverse as Morbius. Um,
could
and
be
maybe it's just like a vampire alternate Earth.
maybe.
Um,
Well, but the thing is, Blade, not Blade, sorry, Morbius is supposed to take place in the same universe as Venom.
oh, it is okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like a dark, like a dark Earth type thing, or um, that's just throwing ideas out there.
Hmm. Definitely. But yeah, it is possible. But yeah, it's very interesting. And then yeah, the thing that confuses me is it's apparent that they're going to try to do a Sinister Six type thing, but it's
Sure.
sort of murky as who the members are going to be because we can practically confirm at least Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Electro, and then there's the Lizard, which we believe that we saw. That would be four, and then some people are saying Sandman. Again, I'm not sure I agree with that, but if there is Sandman, that's five. And then who's number six?
Um, that's a good question because we've seen Vulture, we've seen Scorpion.
And we've
Um,
seen Mysterio.
yeah, well, he's probably dead.
Well, hold on. Yes, however, it would not because people loved Mysterio and they loved Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. So
Okay.
I don't think they'd keep a character that loved dead. Like they didn't keep Loki dead after they killed him off.
Yeah, maybe he is the new Loki.
Yes, so it would not surprise me at all if they either if it was a variant or some way, shape, or form brought back Mysterio.
Okay.
That's another thing I feel like would be an epic twist.
Yeah. Yeah, it would.
Mm-hmm.
And the technology all still exists. Like it is a guy in a suit.
Exactly.
So a variant could come, find the
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Exactly. But
But
especially with the concept of the multiverse and what they've been doing, especially with Loki, I don't think anything's out of the question.
uh-huh.
It's more
Yeah.
of an idea, I feel like, of thinking what's the most practical.
Yeah. But then again, what's the most impractically practical thing? Because
Exactly.
this is a superhero movie.
Yeah. And nothing is just that simple.
Yeah. But back to the Sinister Six thing, you got a lot of personalities on this Sinister Six that would clash. And,
Mm-hmm.
because you got Doc Ock, you got Green Goblin, and those two are always at each other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, there's a lot of possibility
Yeah.
there.
Well, my kind of theory is like they're not gonna formally band together and become the Sinister Six. I think what's gonna happen is there's gonna be the bad guys are all gonna come together, like
Hmm.
informally, and all fight Spider-Man at the same time. There's gonna be six of them.
Okay.
And in fact, for all I know, they're gonna be fighting three Spider-Man.
It's a possibility. And Daredevil.
Maybe. I feel like
Hopefully.
if Matt Murdock is in this, if Daredevil is, and they don't have him like be Daredevil, do the Daredevil stuff, they're
Mhm.
gonna have him in solely to kind of explain the Netflix series,
Yeah.
and how that fits in. Because the thing is, Kevin Feige, because he didn't have complete control over those original MCU shows, that's
Yeah.
why they didn't line up, so to speak, with the events going on in the movies.
Uh-huh.
Because he didn't have complete creative control like he does in the Disney Plus shows.
Yeah. And I think it was season 1 of Daredevil. This one guy says something like, well, at least this guy isn't swinging around a magical hammer or has a flying suit of armor or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something along the lines of that. So I think it is already
Yeah.
maybe the same universe, just lesser known.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I haven't seen all the shows, but nothing super climactic has happened like in
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil, which would
Yeah.
leave that in the other ones, nothing super climactic, which would get the Avengers or anyone else's attention would happen either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like, I don't know. It's in such a gray area because there are certain things it's like, oh yeah, this is Marvel Cinematic Universe. But then in other ways, like I think of Winter Soldier with like Shield going down, the big whoop de doo. We didn't hear about any of that.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think that we'd at least get some type of reference here or there, but instead everyone just went on their normal lives.
Okay, yeah.
Because like I think of like Agents of Shield, the first two seasons, it did a decent job at staying connected.
Yeah.
And then after that, just gone. And Agents of Shield, that's kind of the show that I think of the most. That just seems so weird because it starts out definitely in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but then it just sort of discards everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, because because Agents of Shield was the longest show that ran from that, and after season two, because it ran until after Infinity War and Endgame, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I stopped watching after like season 3 or 4. Um, but it existed, and to my knowledge, they never acknowledged, the blip, or as I like to call it, the snapshot. Um, they never
Okay.
acknowledged that or anything, and it's like, is this still Marvel Cinematic Universe? That's where things
Yeah.
get murky.
I've heard a couple of theories, but Agents of Shield is not. I haven't watched it, but I have heard a couple of theories, but I don't know enough about the show to actually talk about them. But there's a way that they could tie it in. But I really what I think needs to happen with this next movie, or maybe the Doctor Strange movie, but either yeah, the Spider-Man movie or the Doctor Strange movie, they just need to give us some clarity about what's happening with all of our favorite characters who may or
Hmm.
may not be in the cinematic universe. Are they going to come back? Are they just done because of legal reasons? Like
Hmm.
what maybe Kevin Feige needs to say something.
Oh yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, we got to know.
Oh yes. Also, back to the Spider-Man and my theory. I actually am. You know how I rewrote my theory to the whole coming to their house type of thing
Uh huh.
in terms of I'm actually sticking with that now because I'm looking back at the shot where they're on top of the bridge, and those are news helicopters and not police helicopters. So
Okay.
news are not going to engage.
Yeah, that is true.
So again, if I'm going to go back and do the whole thing, starts at the beginning with Spider-Man, his identity going out right where Far From Home picks off. He's running from people. The paparazzi wants to be all over him. The people are all like, "Oh, what's going on?" Think he's a murderer. He goes on top of the bridge, try to get away from people up high, and then the helicopters come. So he just keeps fleeing until he eventually gets back home, and he's like, "Hey, Aunt May, this is terrible." And then that's where we see the shot where they're in the apartment on the lights, like the sirens are pulling up and things, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then maybe they get hostile and they have to use a lot of force, and that's what happens to their apartment or whatever.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, also, I think that they're starting a running joke of the Parkers always going through apartments
Yeah,
because the
probably.
the first one started in Far From Home when they got back from the blip, the snapshot, as I like to call it, and there was someone else living in their house.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was a funny joke, but I don't know. I think it'd be a fun running gag that the Parkers always have to pack up and go somewhere else for some reason here or there.
Yeah.
Um, But anyways, yeah. So that's my theory, and they come in. Whether Happy helps them get arrested or helps them try to flee the cops, I don't know. But Happy's involved there somehow, which makes a whole lot of sense because him and Aunt May
Yeah.
are dating. Plus, he's sort of like I almost see Happy as like a guy Tony Stark put in place to make sure that his legacy lives on. I guess.
Yeah. He's the mentor character.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Uh, but yes, very interesting. And I'm looking back at that soup kitchen scene.
Okay.
It definitely seems like a soup kitchen. I feel like he was talking about feast. Very well could have been feast.
Yeah.
Because if you look in, I think it's a shot who's running past some people who are like sitting on the floor. I think.
Hmm.
Hold on, let me see. It kind of fades out, which isn't good because then I can't really see what's going on. Well, okay, no, the people there, they're dressed, in my opinion, like homeless people. I think.
Oh yeah. I definitely think he is running through the homeless kitchen. There was a photo leaked, and there was a feast truck,
Hmm.
a feast food truck. It's definitely in the movie, and I think the most likely option is that he's on parole, and he has to do his community
Mm-hmm.
service hour. Um,
Possibly. But my kind of thought on that though is usually parole happens after sentencing.
uh
So there is a chance that that could be after sentencing, but I think it would only be like that one clip, maybe.
huh.
Um, so maybe that clip and the other clip where people think Sandman is in.
Yeah.
Those might be the only clips that take place after like the beginning of Act Two.
Uh huh.
Actually,
You know.
here's kind
Yeah.
of my theory. Come think of it, I'm going to refine it once again. I keep refining this theory. So I think Are you familiar with how the three-act structure works specifically?
In a way, yeah.
Yeah.
You
So
could
at the end of Act One, there's plot point one. After plot point one happens and is over, we're into Act Two. Then at the end of Act Two is like the big chunk in the middle. There's plot point two, which leads into Act Three, which is the resolution. And usually, if it's a 2 hour movie, it's Act One is about half an hour, Act Two is an hour, and then Act Three is also half an hour.
yeah.
Now, Marvel does not stick to a strict 2 hours. They like to, add some time here or there.
Oh
So I
yeah.
don't know how this is going to play out specifically. But my idea is that plot point one is going to be Peter screwing up the spell.
Yep.
And then Act Two will be the consequences of that.
Okay.
So yeah. So I think Act Two we'll see, him going to court and the bridge stuff going bonkers and using the Iron Spider suit.
Yeah.
And then I think further down the line in Act Two, we're gonna see both of those shots where he's in the black and gold suit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the rest they're intentionally leaving very mysterious and very vague.
Oh yeah. Something's gonna happen. Whether it's
Mhm.
Andrew Garfield coming in, but yeah, something. They're leaving something big out there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They always do that with their trailers.
Hmm. Oh yes. Apparently, I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation of this. I'm pronouncing it how it looks like it's pronounced because of the American name, but Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
Um, yes. I heard apparently its entire third act has just been hid from all the trailers, and it's apparently pretty big.
Really?
So I hear, yeah. That was from 3C Films. Yeah, YouTuber I watch. He just got some
Okay.
good stuff.
Yeah, Shang-Chi is definitely an interesting one because they're in the trailer. They're promoting him as even bigger than Thor and Captain America and Iron Man.
Hmm.
So I think he's gonna
Sort
play.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I sort of have mixed feelings on how that movie looks. It's like
Yeah.
part of me really wants to see it, but part of me is like, eh. It seems
It kind
like
of the same setup as Black Panther in a way.
sort of. But so, anyways, that's basically. I can't think of a single more thing to talk about in the No Way Home trailer. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
We're hoping for Daredevil.
Oh yes, hoping for Daredevil, definitely. Alrighty. Well, in the spirit of that, thank you everyone for joining us. I am Kyle Swope once again with my co-host Josh Myers. Josh, say goodbye.
One. Thanks for listening.
Alrighty, cool beans. And we will see all you guys next time. Once again, thank you for joining us. We will catch you later. Adios.